As many people know, my wife and I actually adopted our first two children, Avery and Jordan. And we worked with Paul MacArthur, who's one of the top adoption attorneys in the state. And this week we had the chance to sit down with Paul and ask him some different questions about the adoption process. So I'm here with Paul MacArthur, who's one of the top attorneys in Utah County. And Paul, so we adopted our first two children, which a lot of people know, and you were instrumental in helping make that all happen. And so having adopted, a lot of people come up to us and say, hey, we want to adopt, or we're thinking about maybe adopting. So any advice you'd have for people that are kind of starting the adoption process or kind of looking at going down that road?
Sure. I know you know this, but 3 of my 7 kids were adopted as well, so I know this field from a personal vantage point and also from a professional vantage point. So I would say that there's probably 4 general areas to look at in adoption. The first would be your most basic in-state adoption, agency adoption. In that situation, you've got an agency, you've got one state's laws that apply. In this case, Utah, it's a very favorable pro-adoption state. And then you've got, again, the agency with all of their personnel behind the agency, making sure that things get done properly, the legal stuff gets taken care of, the birth mother gets the counseling that she needs, and that sort of thing. So that's a very basic type adoption. The second would be your private placement in-state adoption, and that would be where there isn't an agency involved, and you've got to have somebody to come in and replace the services that the agency would typically provide. So in most cases, it's the attorney. So we do quite a few private placement adoptions, and in that case, we meet with the birth mother once or twice to make sure that she understands what the law says, that her questions are answered, that we have a good game plan for the adoption. Excuse me. In addition, we also make sure that the couple provides some of the services that the agency would provide, because you want that bond to take place, but you don't want it to be too much because they can actually get on each other's nerves. So we help them to find that balance. The third sector, I guess, would be your out-of-state. That could be either agency or private placement. But when you have an out-of-state adoption, then you've got issues involving the law of the state where either the child was born, where conception took place, something like that. And then the fourth would be your international adoptions. So as to the first, the agency, really what you need to do, your homework is investigating the agencies themselves. So find out what their reputation is, get online, look at the comments made by other people that have used their services, etc., and try to come to some kind of determination of, number one, are they competent, and number two, is there a good vibe? Do you connect with them? Because as you know, adoptions are as emotional as anything. And you want to have people in your corner that you feel like understand how you feel emotionally. As for private placement adoptions, you need to make sure that you pick an attorney who knows what they're doing. Has been down this road many times, not just in adoptions, but specifically in private placement adoptions, because there is a lot that isn't strictly legal that the agency wouldn't provide that somebody has to provide. And so you need to make sure that they've done that before and have an idea of what to do. Out of state, you've got to deal with the laws of that state. Mostly you're dealing with birth father rights. Under Utah law, a birth father, where you have an unmarried biological father, his rights under Utah law have to be established by his actions. He has to do a number of things to establish any rights to the child. But when you have another state involved, then due process requires that birth father be given an opportunity to protect his rights, and he can't do that if he doesn't even know the birth mother's in Utah, for example. So you've got some things that you've got to take care of there. International is tough right now. International, we have some international treaties, Treaty on the Rights of a Child, Hague Convention, etc., that have really negatively affected international adoptions. Good motives, trying to do the right thing, but the end result has been a significant decrease in the number of international adoptions. So right now, it's a tough field to be in. Though China, for example, Korea, maybe Taiwan, you're still seeing some fairly uninterrupted adoptions from those countries, but most other countries you're seeing things that are either non-existent, where they used to have a number of adoptions, or just kind of sputtering along. I expect in the next 5 to 10 years that pendulum will swing backwards a little bit, hopefully not too far, because you still got to protect children, but so that's where we are internationally.
Well, thanks again. Those are some great insights, and you were so instrumental in helping us with our adoption process. So thanks again for your insights.
My pleasure.
Thanks for watching this week's episode of Top Secret Tuesday. As always, feel free to subscribe for future episodes and be able to catch on what we're doing in the future. And as always, we'd love to hear your thoughts and comments and questions. So go ahead and leave those below. We'll get back to you just as soon as we can. We'd love to hear what you'd like to see on upcoming episodes of Top Secret Tuesday.